Well, hello, friends, and welcome to the Monday Show 42. I'm your host, Wes. With me, as always, my good friend Roots. Roots, how's this week treating you so far?
It's been hectic starting, but everything's evening out. No more flooding sinks, no more flooding closets, and I'm actually here, so that's a good thing. So
Yeah. So, in case you all didn't catch it, Virtual Strangers 62 did not go off yesterday as planned. And it's because my buddy Roots here had a little bit of an emergency, huh?
yeah, it was a nightmare, man. Like I was just telling you before we started, it literally. I was getting ready for the show. I had everything ready, and then my roommate sent me a picture of the light fixture downstairs, saying, "Hey, this is dripping." And then the rest of my day was taken up, and it's one of those things where everything's going normal in your life, and then everything gets flipped upside down for about half a day, and it felt bad too because I was also supposed to do the first episode of that show with Skiva and Anthony, so we're gonna have to do that next week instead, talking about UFOs and aliens. So that'll be an interesting. I've never talked about a podcast that wasn't virtual reality, so it'll be cool.
Yeah, man. I just happened to catch that through Anthony's Twitter. I had no idea this was even a thing, man. It's a complete surprise to me.
Yeah, it was a surprise to me too because I guess this is my theory. Because I haven't talked to Anthony about it. I think he had a vision, a dream of us three doing a show and saw it was successful and he's running with it. But no, I know that we're both Skiva and I are both open to just thinking about that type of stuff, and we talked about doing a show back in the day, and we'll see how it goes. Just doing talking about weird stuff. So
Yeah,
bizarro.
yeah, absolutely. It'll be fun if nothing else, right?
Yeah, true.
All right. So, the dripping chandelier, is that what you said? Or light fixture
Light
was dripping?
fixture. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
guess we're both wearing red. I didn't even notice that. Yeah, it says the Red Monday. But yeah, it was it's not good when you have to drain your light fixture before you do anything and then move everything out, and like I just did everything by hand with towels, man, just like soaking it up over and over and over until it was good. That's a nightmare. So
Yeah, sounds like a nightmare. Anyway, we will continue to truck on. What are we going to do Wednesday for the makeup show for Virtual Strangers 62?
yeah, that'll be good because we decided because you actually caught it because it's the timing. This is how it always happens, Wes. Every time we have a delayed show or something, somehow, some way it benefits us, and it's going to give us the upload VR showcase to talk about as well as what just came out this last week. So it should be a pretty good show.
Yeah, it should be a banger, man, because we had a good show ready to go yesterday, and now we get this upload stuff on top of it. And man, they're really hyping it up. They're doing a good job with promotion. I don't know if you've caught any of it, but they came out today with all these teasers saying now VR gets its turn, and
Mm.
I'm pretty pumped for it.
No, I didn't, but that makes me pump for it. And you know what? I pump for. I wasn't even thinking about talking about this, but somebody mentioned in the chat before we started about the Star Wars, the Rogue Squadron. So I actually, for the first time, went and watched the trailer, and I was like, I'm not, like me, the whole political correctness has ruined Star Wars for the most part for me. But man, it looks so good. I was like giddy. I was like, oh my God, like it's just gonna be so huge, and it's just one big announcement. Iron Man is what 2.5 weeks away. So I mean things are getting ready to go crazy here.
Yeah, Iron Man's 2.5 weeks away. The I always forget its name whenever I try to talk about it on the show for some reason. The from In Dreams, the stealth game.
Oh, the shooter, right? The I don't know, the
Yeah,
kayak.
yeah, the
Right.
kayak stealth game. Somebody please help me out here.
Yeah, I'm
I
having a blank
feel
as
like a
well.
feel like a dunce right now. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, it's coming soon.
yeah,
Well,
it's coming in 2 weeks, dude, or
wow.
even less than that now, like a week and a half.
That's crazy.
Until it gets released, and that's probably I'm looking forward to that one just as much as Iron Man.
You know what I'm looking forward to the most about that game dropping? is everybody that's been naysayers eating it. You know what I mean? Like
Thank you, Factory Life. It's Phantom.
covert ops. Yeah.
Yeah, Covert Ops. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's been a couple people, Scion, in the Discord that are like constantly trashing this game. Never played it. I'm gonna go with all the people that have played it and say it's amazing. And then with the video I've seen it, I'm really psyched to try it, and I think it's gonna be phenomenal.
Yeah, man. Those people. There's a specific term for those type of people, and they're called haters.
Yeah, haters for sure. And wasn't it Gerillo was the other one? I don't want to call anybody out. But yeah.
Anyway, chat filling out nicely. Derail, what's up? Factory Life, thank you, sir. Phil Yarn, Mepper, Spry Guy, Scion. Thanks for showing out, guys. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure.
So anyway, let's do what we do on the Monday show, man. Let's talk about what we've been playing. And I don't know, man. I don't know about you, but I've played quite a few things this last week, and I've had a good time doing it.
Yeah, I haven't played as much as you have, but I've been into a lot of games, a lot of shooter games. You know, we've been doing a lot of contractors, which is really cool. We're getting ready to start going into Pavlov. I think we might even be doing some grip after the show. That'll be cool. So yeah, I've been playing a lot more VR than I have been lately, and some good games too.
Yeah, man. I played what was the name of that retro shooter from the guy in Georgia? Damn it. I shouldn't be doing a show right now. I can't even think of anything's name. Theta Legion. Theta Legion VR I played and went almost to the end of it this last time through. Just a beautiful example of a retro shooter. And I just got word today from the developers at Garage Collective that they're bringing a new game out at the end of the year. And it's the same retro style game, but it's not a FPS. This one is more like an old school RPG game, and it looks really cool.
Oh wow, well, that's cool, man! I can't wait to see all these retro VR games that are going to be different genres coming out. That's cool.
Yeah, give me just a second here, and I'll give you the title of it. They sent me a trailer, and it looks friggin' awesome. I mean, if you liked like Theta Legion, if you thought Theta Legion was a beautiful game, like I did, I thought for that style of art, it looked really good. This game looks almost identical to it in terms of art style, but it's a completely different genre of game. It's called The Stones of Harlath.
Okay.
And we'll share the trailer here, and maybe even on Wednesday, depending upon how much stuff we get out of the upload showcase.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, just sitting here looking at your shirt. When are we going to get a Scooby-Doo VR game? That'd be cool, right? Go on a Scooby-Doo adventure.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I want everything to be in VR. Like, literally everything I like should be in VR now.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Anyway, let's talk about what we've been playing. And I think first, want to talk about that demo first?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that.
Yeah, tomorrow starts the Steam Summer Gaming Showcase. And what this is an event that highlights new and upcoming games. And there's lots of special things going on with like behind the scenes videos, new trailers, and demos, playable demos for people. And one such demo is the demo for a game we've talked about a few times already, the game called Rinlo. And we received the demo, about a week ago?
Yeah, it's been about a week.
Yeah, and what it is, it's the first two levels of the game. And for those of you who don't know, this is a third-person steampunk-themed platforming game. But the cool thing about this, Roots, I thought, was that it's not just a pure platformer. It incorporates certain RPG elements into the gameplay. And I thought that was a nice twist.
Yeah, I thought everything about this game I thought was pretty cool. Although there is one nitpicky thing, because this is like alpha, right? This is like early alpha.
Yeah.
There's some they've even said in the beginning, hey, there's not everything that's in here is even going to make the game. And hopefully it's not somebody's relative, but the guy near the end on the boat, get rid of his voice. because his voice, because I went through and played it again before the show, his voice going next to Agatha is like, you're like, oh my God, like I'm watching a Disney movie or something, you know, it just fits so perfect, her voice. And then when it got to that last part, his trying to be that gruff voice or whatever just didn't seem to work for me anyway. But no, I really enjoyed my time here. I was actually kind of bummed when it ended, and it took me about an hour. So there's what, four levels they said on release.
Yeah, when it releases into early access, there's going to be 4 levels. The demo gives you the first 2, and really, that's my biggest and only real complaint with the game, was that it's just a demo, and I wanted to keep going with it. Right, like it's literally seems like it could be the beginning of an epic story adventure, right? But it's just the beginning.
Yeah. And I like the way that they incorporated you into the at the times that you do the puzzles and stuff. Like, you know, you'll get to a lever, pull the lever, and then each puzzle's different. And I kind of alluded to it last time when we were talking about it, but without going into detail. But there was that one where you have to take the the hoop around the metal without kind of like operation, or you get shocked, and that was pretty cool. Um, you know, it didn't seem like the puzzles were that difficult, but I really enjoyed the atmosphere as well. You know, different levels and the way it looked, especially like when she sits down at that bench and the train comes. I thought that was a pretty cool scene as well.
Yeah, the as far as the puzzles go, you're right. They were mostly pretty easy. I think the most difficult one is the one you were just talking about, the hoop and the wire, because the thing's pretty wide, right? So you kind of have to move your body, and it's sensitive, right? If you get close, that thing's going to zap you and start you over again.
Yeah. Plus, you're just paranoid. If you're like me, you're paranoid. You're gonna, you know, that adds to it. You're like, I don't want to touch it, and then all of a sudden, bzz, you're like, ah, son of a bitch, gotta start over. So,
Well, after I started over like 6 or 7 times, I finally discovered that you can let go of it and it doesn't drop. It just stays there in place. And that was very helpful because, like I said, it was very wide. So it's kind of, you're turning your wrist like this to try to get around the curves and things. And once it gets away from your body, it's very difficult. But after I learned that you can let go of the thing and move yourself and reposition yourself in the real world and then grab it again and continue, it got a lot easier at that point.
what'd you think of the way the character moves around and stuff, and just the way you can crawl, jump around? I mean, pretty much pretty fluid as far as that goes, right? Innovative as far as her character. I just always look past this game, you know, of what future games like a Tomb Raider or any third person type of game and what it would be like. And I just thought it was really cool the way everything moved around. And anytime I play a game like this, the worst thing in the world I could have imagined for this game or any game like this is your character doesn't jump, because I want to jump everywhere I run, and that's just all the gaming I've done, the Call of Duties, the World of Warcraft. You know, most of us are that way. So when you can't jump, it just feels so bad. So
Yeah, I was a little confused here. And by the way, I totally agree. The movement was cool. Put me a little bit in the mind of Moss, but not, now that you mention it, Tomb Raider's a good comparison to draw as well. But so like you start out in this room, you're locked up. There's guards at the door. You have to sneak out. And I thought that this was the place that she lived at, right? I thought she was trapped in like an orphanage or something. But after she breaks out of this place, she goes home. So what was this place at the beginning where they had her like captured and behind lock and key?
I think it was an orphanage. It said something about her being in an orphanage or whatever, and that was the story was pretty cool too. And that's it kind of gripped me, made me want to see more. But I don't know. I don't know why she was at the orphanage and then left and then went back home. Maybe she went back to a relative's house that she, you know, got pulled away from or something. But no, it was definitely. I'm now I'm perplexed. I don't know what the hell is going on in this story.
We have to go back and give it another look.
Yeah.
Uh, Roy Schwartz in the house. Void Cat, what's up, guys? Thanks for coming. Um, so graphically, beautiful, right?
Right. Yeah. For sure. Yeah. And then I
Yeah.
like the crafting. Like this is the part that you're getting to before. I mean, we only saw a small smidge of it, but you're collecting different stuff and you collect a distraction bomb or something. And if there's a lot of different things you can craft and a lot of things you can pick up, that's gonna be pretty cool as well, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, again, it's cool to see them uh, adding in these RPG elements to this style of game. You don't see that very often, even if it is kind of simple. I mean, it's not a very grindy type thing at all, like an RPG would be. But it's cool that that they're filling the space, basically travel time, with collecting items and giving the game a little bit more depth than it would have had originally.
Yeah. Plus, like we said, where this is alpha, they're gonna be releasing into early access June 23rd, and then I'm assuming they'll maybe double the levels. I don't know, but it'll be interesting to see where they go with it and where the story develops. Now, do we know what the cost is on this one?
I have no idea, but I do believe it is coming to Viveport Infinity.
So free if you have Infinity. That's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty awesome. So yeah, two levels in the demo. The demo I think is going to be available for everybody tomorrow to play. And then, like Root said, on the 23rd, the game comes into early access. Those two levels will become four, and then by I think they said November, the game's going to come out of early access. And I think the levels are going to you get two or four more even on top of that. So.
So I only have to wait 8 more days to find out what happens on that ship because I had that conversation, just had it with that captain on the ship, and then it ended, and I was like, oh man, I want to see what the hell's going on.
And what a prick that guy was too. Like he's like coming to pick up this little girl on the orders of his boss, which is her dad, and he has no patience. Right? She's like, "Is the lighthouse working?" Nope. Well, see you later, kid.
Yeah, he was definitely a dick for sure.
I mean,
Uh,
like there's a girl, a little girl alone on a pier, and you're just gonna leave her there? What a douchebag.
yeah, it's funny on this gameplay that same thing just happened to me to where she's gonna get caught. She didn't throw it far enough, and there's just not the gap
Yep.
to squeeze
Yeah, I
past
did the same
behind.
thing.
Yeah. So now you guys know. Now you know not to get stuck there. So yeah, definitely check this out tomorrow for sure, especially for free. It'll give you an idea of what this game is and whether it's something you'll like or not, right?
Yeah. Again, I kind of feel like the game's going to get better as it goes on, and this is just the beginning. But it'll give you a feel for the quality and the style of gameplay. And again, to go back to the graphics, I thought it was a beautiful game. It kind of just the style of it and the look. It kind of gave me the feeling of like Ten Hearts. Like it had that same feel to it.
Yeah. No, it was definitely beautiful. She's doing it right there. Look, that guy didn't even see her. That was crazy. But yeah, it was to me it looked like a really elaborate Disney beginning of a movie or, Pixar or something of that nature. Like I got really close to that character model and it just looked really good. Like you said, everything. And especially when you get to the part near I guess it's after the train and there's all that water and it just looks really good. It's very beautiful
Yeah.
game for sure.
Something else I really enjoyed about it was the time period it set in. I've said it before. One of my favorite things to do in virtual reality is to use it as a time machine and to travel back. And anytime you get to go back and see older architecture, older technology, it's something that I really enjoyed. And this game, it seemed like it was, at least 100 years ago, maybe even longer.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely here's that first puzzle. Yeah, it was definitely really good. And I recommend checking it out, especially since it's free. You have nothing to lose, and then you'll find out whether it's something you want to pick up in 8 days. I do wish I knew what the cost was going to be. That would help me tell whether or not um, I would recommend it, as what we're
Well,
seeing here.
well, we're gonna come back to it because uh, we are going to have access to the full game too when it hits early access. our demo will become the early access
Oh,
version,
cool.
and when it
Yeah.
comes out of early access, you know, so on and so forth. So we'll come back to it when we know what the price is going to be. I think it's like 20 or 25 bucks, but we'll know more about the game later, and we'll be able to give a proper review of it.
Cool. Sounds good.
Let me ask you this: what did you think about the scale here? I thought it was really interesting. You know, we've mentioned it many time and again that playing with scale is something that a developer can do to really wow the user, and we've seen great examples of very large things in VR, like in Astrobot, for example, or Skyrim even. And then we've seen the opposite. We've seen the little tiny things in VR like Moss and Ghost Giant. But I thought this game was really cool because it kind of took it in between stance. It was a smaller scale, but it wasn't tiny like Moss or Lucky's Tale or something like that. It was kind of in between. The things were a little bit bigger than those games are, and it gives you an opportunity to really appreciate a lot of details that would otherwise be lost.
No, I agree. I was just thinking that it's like you're in between the small and the big, and you're looking at it's like the buildings don't look so huge, but it doesn't look like you're at eye level either. So I agree. It was it's definitely done well, definitely different, and this is where area I was telling you about with all that water. I just thought it was really cool, and I can't wait to see the next two levels.
Yeah, it's really cool. If you like exploration, it's a slow paced game, but the maps are pretty big. It is linear, but the maps are big enough that it allows you to explore quite a bit. So you can look around, find these elements that you need for crafting. Um, you'll see people talking on the street, and you can't really interact with them, but it's still it really adds to the atmosphere, you
Yeah.
know. And when I saw that, it kind of put me in the mind of Ghost Giant when you're in these big, you know, cityscapes and there's just life going on all around you. I really felt like that to me.
Did you try to talk to people? I tried to run up and like click on them, and they just
Oh yeah,
ignored me.
I tried to dance with them and everything, dude.
Yeah,
Like,
they didn't even pretended like I wasn't even real. It's rude.
yeah, like I've been over right in front of that dude and backed right into him. Nothing.
You backed that ass right up, right?
Damn right I did. You
Oh
know, if
man,
you got it, you got to work it, right?
that's right.
Anyway, yeah, a solid title, a lot of potential here. Again, just the beginning of it, so we'll see where it goes. But so far, so good.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so that's not all. That wasn't the only new game that we got to try this past week, and this next one was a little bit of a surprise to me. I mean, we knew that it was coming soon, even within the next week or two. But you know, the day after I reported that we would probably get it next week, it came out the very next day. And I'm talking, of course, about Crisis Brigade 2. Roots, did it surprise you that it came as quickly as it did?
Nothing surprises me anymore. It's like, just when you hear about something, it's out in VR, and it's like, man, because we have no patience, and that's why they're doing it the way they are. But no, what surprised me about this game was how good it was. What did you think about it? Like, I got in there and I ended up spending almost an hour, and I wasn't even planning on it. And I played a little bit today, Wes, and I will. This confession time from Roots. I was sitting there playing, and I'm like, "What is going on, man?" I was dealing with some kind of jank, some kind of tracking jank, and it was after I'd set up for the show, and I must have played it for like 15 minutes before, and then I finally gave up. I did okay, but I came out and I looked over and I realized I didn't even have a third sensor, and it's like the two that you're facing. I just had one behind me and
Yeah.
one off to the side, so it was like all fucked up, man. It tells you CV1 troubles to make sure your sensor's not, because I have to move it to set up for the show. So, but yeah, no, I really enjoyed so much of the time that I've done so far in here. How far have you gotten on this?
Not very far, and that's actually one of the things that I really like about it because this is kind of like a retro game in the fact that the difficulty scales quickly, and if you die, you're dead, and you start over. And the way you progress is through practice and getting better. And not only that, but by knowing what's going to happen through experience and dying.
Mm.
So it really plays a lot like an old school video game.
Yeah, it does actually. And did you get any of those coins? Because you can earn coins or bullets, or I'm not sure what they are that you earn, right? But you can actually, if you get up to 200, you can continue. And so I was able to continue once, and
Yeah.
and that was it, man. Because I played for like an hour just to get that one continue. It's hard, and I'm sure it was the same place that you got. Must have. I'm sure if you got far enough, I got to a point where I kept exploding. This car I was behind kept exploding, and I'm like, what the hell? Finally, I was able to. I think it was no, it was that right here. This trash can. There's a guy up top that
Yeah.
bazookas you. And it took me like 3 deaths to realize where is that coming from. But I agree, it's got so much going on and so many different enemies, and it's just fun. And I can't wait for the multiplayer to come out when it does, because then it's going to be on for sure.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Scion says, "What's with the cheaty lasers? Is that optional?" Yeah, actually, that's an upgrade that you can buy with this currency that Roots was just talking about.
Let me ask you this, and I didn't even dawn on me how stupid I am. Okay, are those upgrades permanent? Like if I buy that laser, do I always have, because I should be buying upgrades up the wazoo, because I just assumed it was like a one-time deal, and then like you have to buy it again, kind of like the continue. But if I can buy like a laser and then always have that laser, I'm gonna go get that laser next time I play. The cheating ass Scion laser is what I'm gonna call it. So
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember which side it fell on. There's two menus for you to purchase things from, right? There's the stuff on the left, which is like the gun upgrades, the machine guns and all the different things, and those expire. You empty the clip and you're done with them. And then there's another set of things that you can buy that has skins and all sorts of other stuff, and you get to keep that stuff. My
hmm.
question is, and I don't remember which side the laser fell on, but there's some other pistols you can buy. I mean, you can buy a Ruger. Uh, I want to know, does it add anything to pick those up,
Hmm.
or are they only skins for the pistol that you already have?
Yeah, and you know it's funny because in VR it's different. My mindset, I never understood skins, Wes. Like, especially in a first person like World of Warcraft or whatever, man, your skins are for somebody else. Who gives a crap? But if I'm in VR and I'm looking at that gun, that skin, ask Scion, he's raving about the World War II skins for contractors just because he loves the way that the guns look. I mean, it just makes a big difference in VR. And so that's kind of cool that you can get unlock skins. And I am really curious to know if you can unlock the different, because I looked at all those mods for the guns and I assumed it was a one-time thing, kind of like the persistence. And I think I'm probably wrong. Like it would make sense, as hard as this game is, for you to unlock different attachments permanently to make you actually be able to win, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely need to get more time into that. I just banked my currency. I didn't spend any of it. Certainly not going to spend 200 on a continue when I know I'm just going to die straight away anyway. Uh,
Yeah. I
so
had to.
I
I was curious. I was like, I saw it and I was like, where is it going to start? Am I going to start right here? Am I going to you know what I mean? Like, I didn't know how it was going to work. And legitimately, you were right there. I was able to shoot that rocket, dude, past the level. I was literally right at the end of the level. And then I died like a minute later. So it didn't really
yeah
matter.
I'm
So,
yeah I made it like another two or three scenes past that, but I was stuck there for a while because like you, I kept blowing up, and yeah, it took me a while to figure out that that guy on the roof has a rocket launcher. But after you find that out, you can shoot those rockets out of the air.
I see, I didn't even see it until it was like all of a sudden I was dead. I was focusing on it, something else. Um, so Phil Yard just asked if it's worth the money. What is the cost on it? I would say, I mean,
Yeah,
obviously we
it's
didn't pay
good.
for it. What's that?
It's good. It's really good.
Yeah, it's definitely worth it. I think it's worth. I mean, obviously, we got our copy for free, but I was telling Wes, like before I asked him if we contacted the devs or not, because he's usually the one that does that, and he said we did, so I held off. But I was getting ready to buy it, and I think it's what, $19.95, but it's on sale for $15.95 right now, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
I can tell you quickly, and while we're at it, 1,000 thank yous to Sumalab and Diego specifically. Thank you, sir, for sending us this game. We're really digging it, man, and it's the same concept, right, from the first Crisis Brigade game. It's exactly the same concept. It's set up exactly the same way, but the production values are just like 1,000 times better than the first one, and it's really a lot of fun.
The guns feel so good, especially the handgun. The reloading.
$19.99.
Okay, yeah. Is it on sale still or no? I know it was on sale. Probably not, but still $20. It's worth it for sure.
Yeah, I would say so. Only 2 or 3 levels in it right now, but more on the way.
Well, that's the thing. It's okay. You got 6 minutes, right? And that's for the first level, for the first raid, and I can only get like a quarter of the way through before I get my ass dead every single time. And this is just the first raid. Once you get through this first 7 minutes, it goes to the, then you unlock the next one. And if they're adding to it, I mean, it is absolutely, you're not going to be blowing through this game. I guarantee you. If you like shooters, if you like wave shooters that progress, and this one actually is kind of cool because it has multiple ways you can go. Like it has those arrows. So I convinced myself, Wes, that going straight was good, and then I realized that the left was good. But I'm now second guessing if the straight was the way I should have went. But it takes you down different alleyways. You have different enemies, different levels to beat, so it's cool.
Yeah, man, that was one of the things I really enjoyed about it was there is that replayability there. There are varying paths. It's kind of like Blood and Truth in that way. You'll make your way through a scene, kill all the bad guys, and then you have a choice. Do you want to go left? Do you want to go right? Do you want to go up? Do you want to go down? And you end up in the same place. It's just taking different paths to get there. But it really it makes for a lot of replayability and a lot of fun. If you're getting tired of going left and getting killed over and over again, next time you can go right and get killed.
Yeah, that's probably what's gonna happen, right? But no, yeah, it's I was gonna say definitely worth picking up for sure. Like I said, I would have picked it up anyway, and it's only $20. So I'm just curious. I know that the last level that we were on, there was actually people behind me as well. So it gets a lot more difficult as to play.
Did you make it into the apartment, into the apartment scene where you sneak up on them and they're all playing cards or whatever?
I think so. That sounds familiar, but I'm not sure. Now you've got me wondering.
Yeah, that was the one where it was really hard to keep up with, people coming up behind you because I mean there's a doorway to your right, there's the room in front of you, and then there's a doorway to your left as well as a staircase with people coming up the stairs, and you just had this little piece of cover to hide behind. Tough, man.
Yeah, really tough. The thing about it for me is that's one of the best things too is like all the different cover. The different cover, it really makes you use it. Like I tried to play earlier sitting down, and then I realized like my head was sticking above the trash can. It ain't gonna work, bro. Like you need to you need to get behind that shit or you're gonna die. And it's I'm just, like I said, I need somebody to carry me through this game. I think I'm starting to feel like so I'm really looking forward to the co-op to being added, and it made me want to go back and play the first one again. I know that's on sale for like $8, I believe. I almost picked it up. I know Alex has it in his library, but it's such a good title that I was thinking I need to have it for myself as well.
Yeah, and you can get it for free on Side Quest if you own an Oculus Quest.
Yeah, I don't have a Quest. I should have picked it up, right?
Right. But the Side Quest version doesn't have multiplayer, I don't think.
Yeah. Well,
but anyway, an awesome game. And the way I dealt with it, because most of the cover is stuff you have to duck behind. Unfortunately, uh, so you're right. You can't play it seated in a chair. So I kept going, and I died 20 times playing this game standing, and my legs started to get tired from the constant ducking. So I just sat in the floor.
Hmm.
And when I sat in the floor,
It was
that was the
easy.
farthest that I made it. It made it a lot better because you were constantly hitting. I mean, there was a lot more blind firing that way, but I didn't get killed so much.
Yeah, well, let me ask you this, because as you're saying, you did played several times. I don't know, probably half hour, 45 minutes of ducking and this and that. And you went to sit down, and then I think about what we were saying last week about all these treadmills, like they, because that's just the when you go coming into VR, it's like so cool. I want to just walk everywhere I go. I want it to be just like real life. And most people just don't want to be walking in VR, let alone standing in VR. You know what I mean? I just don't see it being a big thing. Maybe I'm naive, but we just keep going, coming back circle to it. And now everybody's getting hyped up again for it again. And I just feel like it's just not going to happen, at least not on the scale that everybody, Ready Player One level. So.
Right. Well, that's the thing, I prefer to sit most of the time when I play because I don't want to stand up. But that said, I feel like this is something that I could really get into walking in VR. The only problem with that is there can't be any half steps. Like I need to either be walking normally or not doing it at all. I don't want to walk in place. I don't want to skid my feet across something and pretend like I'm walking.
Hmm.
Either I'm walking or I'm not walking. And if I'm doing anything in between, it's not going to have the same effect as if I were just walking like on an omnidirectional treadmill.
I just feel like if we get to this point, it's going to be AI. It'll be a big room, it'll be AI, and it'll be changing levels around you with this new fast, instantly rendering stuff. You know what I mean? You turn around, and I mean, in that split second, it's redoing everything. And so you're walking across your room, and it's redirecting you wherever you want to go. And you don't even realize you're walking all over your room, but you are, and it's keeping you from hitting stuff. That's the future I see for where you're actually walking. Because I agree, man. I don't want to put on slippery shoes and lean forward, and it just all those videos, as cool as it seemed back in the beginning. Now I look back, and it just looks like a really hokey thing. We're gonna laugh our asses off in about 20 years. We're gonna be like, really, that was a thing. But now it's like people are ready to would dream of spending thousands of dollars to slide around on that thing. So
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'd like to try it, but the Infinidect omnidirectional treadmill is the only one I've ever seen where I've looked at it and said, you know what, that one could work. But I'm sure that uh, there's still latency problems with it between your movements and the in-game character. And besides all that, you're talking 8, 10 grand for one of those things.
yeah, I just want a holodeck from Star Trek, and then I'll
Yeah.
be
Well, I
happy.
think that's what we all want, right? It's the
Yeah,
goal, the
yeah,
dream.
that's the dream. The dream is to not be the one that cleans the holodeck out though after a session. Oh,
Anyway, Crisis Brigade 2 was a blast. If you like the first one, you're going to love this one. It's absolutely beautiful. It plays very similarly. There's more of a progression element to this, to your character, your weapons, things like that. Absolutely revamped, uh, you know, audio visual aspects of it. Looks and sounds a lot more real. Uh, the art style is really cool too. I put it kind of put me in the mind of like Grand Theft Auto.
yeah, yeah. No, it's very beautiful. It's so funny. It's like you look at the first one versus this one; they just look so different. Very similar mechanics, but night and day graphics for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So if you liked Crisis Brigade, you're going to love Crisis Brigade 2. And if you haven't tried either of them, if you like those big elaborate arcade machines that allow you and a friend to grab a gun and progress through a level and pick which direction you want to go and then put another quarter in and then play for a little bit more. It really plays a lot like that. Uh, Only there's no quarters needed. You just you hit start, you get killed, or you hit start again.
Yeah, get ready for some frustration too.
Yeah, but it's a good frustration. It's healthy,
Yeah,
healthy
well,
frustration.
especially if you know to get the cheating Scion laser. I didn't even know. I didn't even think about. Like I said, now I want to go in and see if that's permanent. If it's permanent, I'm starting to buy stuff. Otherwise, I if I
Yeah.
have to, like, that's one of the things I didn't like about Dick Wild too, is that you have to constantly buy your weapons. I want to upgrade that stuff and not look back.
Yeah, I guess we're just going to have to bite the bullet and spend some of that currency. I've got 300 in my bank right now. I want to get that Ruger and see if it A lets me keep it through the whole thing, but B lets me kill these guys a little faster.
Yeah, for sure.
Not that they're hard to kill. I mean, if you shoot them in the head, they die pretty straight away, right?
Yeah, no, it's really easy to kill them. If you get the shot, for sure.
But you better get the shot because sharpshooters, right? Like from halfway across the world, these guys are headshotting you if you give them half a chance.
Let me ask you this: did you shoot those cops? Because
I absolutely shot those cops.
yeah, I found out that you can kill them, and I was like, oh my god, they let you kill the. There's people running around in this level. Yeah, it's crazy, man. This is the beginning level, or is this a different level? What's happening in here? This must be another
Yeah, I
level
don't
or
know.
something. I don't know. That's crazy. Some crazy stuff going on
Yeah,
in there.
this has to be another level. It looks like well no, there's the cops are laying down dead. So what the hell is this?
I don't know.
Maybe it's a multiplayer lobby. You think?
Maybe. I don't know. I just like I said, I shot those two cops, and I was like, wow, it's letting me shoot them, but this looks like it's a whole nother level. So that's cool.
Yeah.
That's the next level. Cool.
Oh yeah. So you start off by shooting the cops. They're laying dead on the ground, and then you move on out. That's
Uh,
cool. Maybe
well,
the cops were the bad guys.
well, let me ask you this: you have all these SWAT people helping you. Did it seem like any of them were helping you? Like they always died, and I'm like, what are you guys doing over there? Like I'm having to get everybody. I'm doing all the work. Roots is piled on again, and felt taken advantage of.
They are helpful. It's helpful if you can manage to keep them alive and bring them with you. But the way that they're helpful isn't because they're killing a bunch of bad guys, but they will draw fire from the bad guys. So,
Mm.
like, if you come into that one scene we were talking about a minute ago, where there's literally like 20 dudes all firing on you, it helps to have a partner, so, to your left or to your right, that's taking some of that fire away from you.
Man, I didn't even think about that. Keeping them alive as a shield. I need that strat going too.
Yeah, so that's kind of how I played it. I mean, you can't get too worried about those guys, or you're going to get killed yourself. But you definitely want to, the biggest advantage the enemies have is high ground. So you want to take that away first. Everybody that's looking down, those are the first guys you want to target.
Yeah, and that's nothing worse than shooting somebody and somebody's nailing you from above, right?
Yeah, it's frustrating, right? Because you feel like right before I figured out how to beat that one screen that we were talking about, like the time before that, I had gotten it down to like three people left. Out of all those dudes in that scene, there was three left, and one of them was in a window, and he shot me in the back.
What a bastard. Let me ask you this. Do you think they was it Ray Delatorre was just saying that it should give it a huge boost, the two-player mode. Do they have a time frame for that? Have they announced when that's going to be, or are they just working on it?
That's kind of the first thing that they're focusing on. So it shouldn't be very long. I would imagine that within the next, I don't know, I would say 3 or 4 months, you'll see that.
It looks like he's got that Ruger. I
Oh
think,
yeah,
right? Yeah, maybe if I know maybe I don't know what a Ruger is, but
yeah. No, that's it.
okay, yeah,
I don't know. I wonder if it has any impact on the actual gameplay. If it's just a gun skin.
yeah, it looks pretty good though.
Yeah, it does look cool. Yeah, I think I'm gonna get it. That's why I saved up to 300. That's what that costs. Costs
Wow.
300.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's got to be permanent, dude. With as much, if it took me an hour's worth of play just to save up enough points to get a continue, and that gun costs more than the continue. It's absolutely got to be permanent. That's my guess anyway.
Yeah, and it's probably cosmetic too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Completely cosmetic, but still cool looking nonetheless.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to buy any of those consumables because I mean, you're just going to use it all up on the first screen anyway, unless there's a way you can switch back and forth between weapons.
Yeah. Yeah, there should be.
Yeah, I tried it. I could switch from like the rifle back to the pistol, but after I did that, like it wouldn't let me go back to the rifle. So I
Hmm.
think it was just me basically throwing it down, you know.
Yeah, no, when you pick up those extra items, that's absolutely what happens. If you switch to the pistol, you throw it to the ground, now you got your pistol again. So
Yeah. Anyway, a ton of fun. Again, big thanks to SumoLab for sending us a copy to check it out. It's a load of fun, and I can't wait to get back into it.
absolutely.
All right, Roots. So that's going to wrap up our games portion and move on to our topic. And I'm looking forward to this one because we've kind of been dropping hints that we're going to kind of start a series on the Monday show. And what we're going to do with this series is instead of looking at just conventional games, there's a whole other side of VR that we've barely even looked at, and that is the emulators and mods. There are tons of different emulators out there that let you play your old favorite retro games, and there are a ton of mods in VR that let you bring flat games into VR or take VR games and add new and interesting functionality to them. So we feel like those types of things, emulators and mods, don't get enough attention from us anyway, because I've barely even used any of it. So I thought, you know, what better way to make myself try this stuff out than to have a running series on the Monday show. And I feel like it's going to be a lot of fun, Rose.
I agree because there's, like you said, there's so many different ones out there, and especially for the ones what we're going to talk about today, which is the emulator, or at least one of them. If you're a retro game player, I mean, I don't see how you don't have this emulator, and if you have VR, correct?
Yeah, man, this is kind of the must have because, you know, most of us are in around the same age group, which means most of us developed our love for video games the very same way on the very same device, and that is the Nintendo Entertainment System, the original NES. And if this is true for you, the way it's true for us, the opportunity to play those games in VR in 3D is just it's something that you know little Wes would have dreamed about. So that's why when we felt like if we're going to cover emulators, we have to cover 3D SCN first. Not only because it's the most notorious VR emulator that there is, but it also has probably the biggest library of any of these VR emulators.
Yeah, it's got a ton of games, and there's just so many games out there for NES. You know, one of the things that I found that was very fun to do this whole thing was going into some of these games that not only ones like that I remember that I loved, like Kid Icarus or Metroid or whatever, but into some other games that I thought were good back in the day, and I got in them, and it reminded me that there's a lot of shitty games in retro world. Like Raiders of the Lost Ark or whatever the game was, like ET, or you know, I get into some of these games and I'm like, oh my god, like I remember this being a good game, and it is not a good game. Um, but there's other ones like I said, I jumped into Kid Icarus and I almost wanted to play through it again because I just have such good memories of that game, and Metroid especially. It just there's so many good games out there that if you have the retro bug and the love for it, it's just amazing. Now, you were one of the things that you were telling me just in this is it's important to tilt it, you know, tilt it, move it in close, and 'cause there's some you can bring it close, you can send it away, you can twist it, angle it so you can see the 3D a little bit more. And I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's important game to game because every game's different, right? You have a different point of view in every game. So it's important to play with your point of view a little bit if you really want to appreciate the 3D-ness of some of these games. And it really pops, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure. Especially this game. One of the games that Donkey Kong, I was playing the original Donkey Kong and I crushed it, Wes, man. I was smoking through those levels. And it's not that hard. But yeah, no, it's it just adds a different element to these games if you already had a love for them. And now I will say some of these games are better than others. Like I thought Castlevania looked amazing, especially like I guess here it is. The whip and just everything and the stairs and going up those stairs. And I just thought it was really cool.
Yeah, man,
This
I
is
was
Batman.
blown away. Castlevania. Yeah, this is Batman. Castlevania was the first one I went to because I love Castlevania. It's one of my favorite franchises. One of the things I really want from VR is a proper Castlevania VR game. But besides that, I was impressed not only with the character models and the levels and the enemies, but like small, subtle things I noticed, like the curtains were flowing in the wind and like the candles were letting off actual light with real time shadows and stuff. And I expected it just to be kind of a cool novelty. This simulator, I really didn't expect the level of detail to go to these 3D models. It was really impressive.
Let me ask you this. You said that your son is like big into retro, right? Asking retro consoles and stuff. Has he tried this at all, or does he think is it something that he even knows exists?
He does know it exists. He does not know that I've installed it on my computer yet. So
Uh,
yeah, I'm sure he's going to be in here on it pretty quickly when he finds out.
yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, and it's
I
it.
think
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say I think we insulted Radio Rant. I was not an NES user. I never owned a console.
Mm. No, well, I'll tell you what, my very first, I guess we got the Tandy, we had the ColecoVision, we got that after, but I bought my first Nintendo with my own paper route money, and then was a dictator to my brothers and sisters on who could play and who couldn't play. But yeah, man, I just have so many memories of Nintendo, and there were so many good games out there. But
Yeah, yeah, man. Like I I I had to make myself stop playing The Legend of Zelda in this thing because it was so cool. I always, this was my favorite game ever growing up. Still to this day, one of the best, funnest games that there is. But I always used to dream, man, what if we could play this with some 3D depth to it? I really always hoped, even when like Super Nintendo came out, I would just keep my fingers crossed that they would remake the original Legend of Zelda with the 16-bit graphics and have proper 3D maps. And to be able to play that now, and you literally, I mean, it's a bird's eye view, right? When you're in the overworld, you can tilt this thing to the point to where it's like almost like a first person view, even though you're behind Link still. Uh, you can literally get down on ground level with the thing, and it's crazy.
yeah, there's so many options, just like you saw that with Batman, how they turned the screen and looked like you were following behind him, right? So yeah,
Yeah,
it gives you another reason to play through some of these games. Like I said, I wanted to play through Kid Icarus and kill some eggplants and stuff. I don't
yeah,
remember
yeah,
too much about that game except for I just remember playing it and loving it back in the day. So
yeah. I remember it too. But yeah, I don't know. I did over an hour on just Zelda, and then I went to Mega Man 2 because it was another great game, and I think that maybe Mega Man 2 might have had the most eye popping 3D out of all the ones I tried, uh, because you go into these levels and what used to be just like a flat level with it looked like some mechanical stuff moving through it, conveyor belts, gears, and things. Now all of a sudden, these gears are popping out and they're in your face and they're all moving together. And it really, in my opinion, lets you kind of see what the developers way back when kind of what their vision was of what this would look like in real life if it were real.
You know, I found one. It was nude Mario, and the Mario guy was running around with an erection, and I was like, why would anybody play this game? But it was definitely very interesting to see in VR. But yeah, they said the sky's the limit, man. All you gotta do is get the ROMs, and you have access. And you know, not every game is optimized perfectly for it. Some I ran into a couple that were really weird and wonky. But I'd say 99% of what I ran good.
Yeah, Delirium Drew VR in the house. What's up, buddy? Slayblaze says, are the ROMs included with this emulator, or do you need to use your own ROM library? Well, they have a list of, I don't know, what, about 60 or so games, and you do have to use your own ROMs, and you just pick the game uh, from their list, and then it'll prompt you to give it the ROM, and you just give it the normal ROM. It doesn't have to be like a special 3D ROM. You still use your old regular NES ROMs, and it will 3D eyes them. And alluding to what Roots was saying just then, um, hacks work. Like if you have uh, hacked Mario ROMs, if you pick the regular Mario game from the level or from the game select and choose the hacked version of the ROM, they work too, and they're just as 3D. So I have one where Mario has a giant afro and is smoking a blunt, and absolutely worked in 3D, surprisingly, right?
Yeah, were you smoking a blunt in VR, Mario style?
100%, dude.
That sounds good.
Yeah, it was. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. I expected it to be cool. I expected there to be some novelty to it. I didn't expect it to be as good as it was. The 3D effects were even better. Contra, here's another really good one in it. Contra. Um, I didn't expect the 3D effect to be quite as good as it was. I didn't expect the graphics. I mean, these are still 8-bit ROMs, but they look really good when you give them some depth. And I really didn't expect to spend as much time in it playing as I did. So I was pleasantly surprised on every front.
Yeah, absolutely. Now this has been out what, a year. I think I just saw that it hit its year anniversary, right?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. So are they still working? They're still working on this, right? And still releasing stuff for it, or at least
Yeah, I hope so. Because really, if I had any complaint over it, the only complaint that I would have is I wished the supported games list was longer. I wish there was more than just the games that they had listed there. I want to play Rygar. I want to play Dragon Power. I want to play Deadly Towers. I want to play Castlevania 2. I thought it was great that they had the first Castlevania on there, but Castlevania 2 and 3 were my favorites.
yeah.
Let me play those.
And you can still play them. They're just on a flat screen. It's not 3D like this, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
if there's not a
I'm
profile.
I haven't. I didn't try. I didn't try to load anything that was not supported.
Oh,
So,
I
eh,
loaded everything, dude. That's why I got into all these games, and I was like, man, this game sucked. I forgot how bad this game was, or whatever game it was. I was like, my God, it was horrible.
yeah. Drew says, "Is this thing called 3D SEN? This looks really cool for what it is." Yeah, it actually used to be called 3D NES, but I guess when they came into full release, they didn't want to have that Nintendo hammer drop on them, so they switched the letters around and turned it to N or SEN. But yeah, it's a standard Nintendo ROM emulator. Only it 3D-izes them, and trust me, these flat images do it no justice at all. This thing is just a blast.
Yeah, that looks really good. So,
Yeah, it says I like how the Slave Base says I like how they added the shadows. It really adds a lot of depth and looks great. Absolutely, and this was the very first thing I noticed. As soon as I loaded in the Castlevania, the first game that I tried, those shadows really popped out, and I was just like, "Wow!" And it really is cool.
Yeah, absolutely. What does this cost? It's like what, $10, I think.
Yeah, it doesn't cost much. Let me check it out. I've still got Steam up here, so um, it isn't much. It's worth it, even if it's $20. It's worth it because I mean, if you're like me and you grew up playing these games on hours on end every day, yeah, it's $20 and
Okay.
100% worth it. And on Viport as well.
Infinity?
Yeah,
Oh
I'm pretty
wow.
sure. Let me verify that and make sure I'm not blowing smoke up everybody's ass. But
Yeah.
I'm fairly certain that this is on Viport Infinity as well. So where's my Viport link at? There it is. But let me ask you this, Roots, while I'm bringing this up. What would you like to see next from this developer? Would you like to either A, have this initial games list expanded, or B, would you like to see a Super Nintendo emulator
B.
that does the same thing?
B. Yeah.
B. So
Yeah,
so
just
you're
because.
ready to get straight into the 16 gigabyte stuff. See, I think that would be great, and it would probably look better and be more fun. But on the other hand, I played a lot more of the 8-bit games.
Mm,
Like I was really heavy into video games during that era. I probably played uh, more game time during the 8-bit era than any other era ever since.
yeah. Yeah, this is either way I'd be good. I mean, see, my problem is I don't have that many tons of ROMs anyway, just the ones that you sent me. So I'd like to see just more different games that I've played throughout the years.
Okay,
That's
maybe they
cool.
took it down, dude. I'm searching for it here, and it's giving me nothing. I know I've seen it on here before.
Hmm. Maybe they changed their mind. Look at that big bat. It's crazy.
Maybe they did. Maybe they had like a. Maybe Viport was having to pay them too much money because uh, the Viport, the way they pay these developers is by game time. How much time are people spending in your game? And this isn't a game, right? This is an emulator, so people could play 50 games all in this one thing. So I imagine if it were on Infinity, that Vive would probably have to pay quite a bit for it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so I guess it's not on here anymore, man. I'm not seeing it on here anymore, which is it's very surprising to me because I know I've seen it on here before.
I tried Marble Madness Scion, and it was not supported, and it was a flat screen, but it was on there. But yeah, I agree. I would love to play a legit Marble Madness in VR.
Yeah, man, there are some decent clones. Nothing exactly like Marble Madness, but there's a lots of different. I mean, even Arcus Path is that same type of game, right? Where you're
Controlling it with your
follow,
head.
right. You're trying to stay on the path.
I
Don't
forgot.
fall into any traps.
Forgot about that game. Marble Mountain. Remember we talked about that on the show almost
Yeah, absolutely.
early on. So
And I bet there's more in the infinite wasteland that is Steam VR. I'm sure there's probably about 20 different, bloatware
look at Duck
versions
Hunt.
of it.
Oh God, that looks good, huh?
Yeah, I didn't try Duck
I
Hunt.
didn't
I
either. That
bet.
look the grass looks really good, really depth.
I think I'd be spoiled though because I've already played Duck Season, so like going back to OG Duck Hunt in VR is how could it live up?
Well, what I want the dog to try to kill me if I shoot it. So that's my problem.
Yeah, I think maybe I have sick tastes. So I might like the blood to show up in the games a little more than the average person.
Yeah, but this looks really good though, for sure.
Slayblade says F-Zero and Mario Kart would be awesome. We're we've been messing around with Dolphin emulator a little bit because you can play Dolphin in VR, and what that gives you the access to are the GameCube and Nintendo Wii libraries. Mario Kart being one of those games. I've been having issues though with my controller emulation um, because Dolphin hasn't been updated for over 4 years, and isn't porting perfectly to the Rift S. So I'm not sure how much. It's going to be very limited what I can play. I'll probably have better luck with GameCube games because you don't have to emulate Wiimotes for those. You can do a standard gamepad. But as far as like the Wii games, I think you're going to have better luck than I did, Roots.
Bummer that they haven't updated that for 4 years, huh?
Yeah, man, because I mean, there's some really good stuff on the Wii that would really work in VR.
Yeah. Well, just I mean, if you're looking at this ROM, this NES ROM, and look how good this looks for it's such a small game, man. I just think that this Duck Hunt looks so much better than I would have thought it would have looked. And I didn't even think
Yeah,
to check it out. So
yeah, it makes me look forward to checking out all of these other emulators. I mean, there's a Sega one that's actually a legit, product where you don't have to bring your own ROMs. It just plays the game. And then there's the new Retro Arcade. That one looks, outstanding. And then, like we said, Dolphin, if we can get that thing tweaked and working right, I mean, Metroid Prime, dude, Metroid Prime VR, and that would work like a legitimate VR game because it's first person. So you can only imagine what that's going to look like.
wow, yeah, excited.
Anyway, so we decided to start with an emulator. We should probably go mod next, right?
Yeah. Oh hell yeah, dude. Not only because it's just we've been talking about the emulator already, but there's some people in the Discord that would freak out if we don't start talking about mods soon. They really want to see you in Alien Isolation. And I want to go into some of these Half-Life experiences that PD's been talking about. So
Yeah, man. It's adding up quickly, isn't it? The collection of playable content in the Half-Life modding community.
yeah, it's adding up pretty quick, and I'm just excited to see something really unique come out of it. I think we're right on the cusp of something phenomenal, but only time will tell.
Yeah, Delirium Drew says Wii is underrated by hardcore gamers, and that's before you mod it, and it plays most everything from the 80s and 90s before PlayStation 1 and Saturn, and the entire GameCube library. You are 100% correct, Drew, and I do have a Wii, and it is jailbroken. I used that letter bomb hack way back when to bust it open. So you could only imagine if I get this Dolphin emulator running, what kind of a good time I'm about to have.
Look how good this Zelda looks. You said you
Yeah,
played it for
this is
like an hour.
yeah, at least an hour, probably a little bit longer.
You know, my problem was, Wes, when I went in there, I couldn't find my sword. I didn't know where to go. It just started me out, and I was roaming. There was like monsters killing me and
You,
stuff.
I could play this game in my sleep, dude. Like I could, I could close my eyes and go to the sword. You know what I mean?
It's been so long since I played it. I just remember
I might, I
spending so
might,
many
I might
hours.
do a stream. I might do a stream of this one because I'm so good at playing this game. I don't even have to think about it. I could
Y-
just play and talk
Yeah,
to people.
people would like it, right? Yeah, it's a good idea.
Steve XM says, anyone try Breath of the Wild in VR? Steve, last week, I did the rewiring hack where you can hook up your PlayStation VR into your Switch and play it in VR that way. I tried that and it was cool. It was way better than the Labo version. Like it's not even close. It was so much better. But I have not tried the CMU emulator version where it actually puts you first person in Link's shoes and has a proper VR game. That is coming. I am going to try that out because I think it looks awesome, and I want to play through Breath of the Wild in VR.
Yeah, I don't know if I've played through all of it. I know I got every single Zelda that came out. My son's played through them all. I know that.
Yeah, there's a way that you can, since they added in the Labo VR support to it on Switch, you can pull your headset cable out of the breakout box and plug it into your Switch dock, and then put the game into VR mode, dock it in the dock so that it tries to shoot it out to the TV. But instead of shooting it to the TV, it shoots it into your headset. So it's still a windowed game like it would be on the TV, but it's 3D. So it's like full on 3D Breath of the Wild, which is cool until you start moving your head and it moves with you, and that
Mm,
makes you feel really weird. So you can only do it for small sessions, 30 minutes at a time or whatever. But it's still my preferred way to play it. But there's a full on VR hack mod for it. If you can get the game image onto your PC, the Wii U version, not the Switch version, but there's an emulator called CMU, and you can modify it by adding in some 3D shaders and things, and it makes it pretty close to a proper VR game. Puts it in first person, the whole nine.
wow. Yeah, we're right on the cusp of all these games, right?
Yeah, the three dot curse sign says 100%. Yeah, man. That's the cool thing. These games never die, man. As the technology goes on, the awesome people in the hacking and modding community, they never leave our old favorites behind. They always bring them along and find new ways to make them fresh again.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. This Mega Man looks pretty sweet.
Yeah, dude. Really, I think it was the best 3D I saw of any of them, which there's a lot of them I didn't try. But some of these levels in Mega Man with the moving parts and stuff, all that stuff pops out right in your face, and it's really impressive.
Yeah, looks really good.
Um, anyway, I was going somewhere with this before I got sidetracked on Breath of the Wild. Oh, so we're gonna do mods next, guys. We need to know from you, what would you like us to start with? What's the first mod? I mean, we've got Skyrim. That's the big one, right? Skyrim. There's Alien Isolation, like Roots said. There's all sorts of different mods in VR. The different ways that you can take flat games. I mean, there's Vorpex. We could probably do freaking 30 hours on just Vorpex, right?
Yeah, what I'm curious about is not that I want to play it, but Blade and Sorceries. Everybody mods the hell out of that game. They love it for some reason. People love that game. I don't get it, but I don't know.
You know which one I want to do first? If I get my way, if Weasel has his way, do you know where I start?
Hmm.
GTA 5.
Oh
I
yeah,
want to play that. I've got it ready and modded. I just had some issues because the Rockstar client doesn't recognize my DualShock 4 controller, but I found a way to emulate Xbox controller with it.
hmm.
So game on. We can play now. I'm just waiting for the right time to cover it. So you guys let us know in the comments down below, what mod would you like to see us cover next, and we'll dive right in on it.
This looks so good. This Metroid. I picked GTA 5 for you because it's such a good story, and I'm surprised you haven't tried it yet.
So Scion, of course, said Alien Isolation, and Spry Guy says it's your show. Do GTA 5 if you want. Yeah, man. We're gonna get to all of them. That's the cool thing about it.
Yeah.
Do side quest games count? They do for me. Roots doesn't have a quest slave lays, but I do, and I have. It's fully ready for side loading. I have side quests set up. So yeah, Quake 2, Half Life, all that stuff is there. But just keep this in mind. I don't have any kind of sentimental attachment to those games. I've never played Quake. I've never played the original Half Life games. If you want to pick any of those games like that, that I'm really going to be impressed by because I have history with. It's got to be Doom, right? They just put a fully modded version of Doom on side quest, and that thing looks pretty freaking cool. So yeah, side quest games count, but just for me. Roots we'll have to pick something else for him.
Yeah. Yeah, but definitely let us know what you would like to see us cover, and we'll start making our way through that list. And like I said, I can't wait for you to get into GTA 5. I don't think people give the story or the gameplay enough credit. It's just really fun to play, especially in
Yeah,
VR.
man, that's almost like an officially supported piece of software. The mod has gotten so good with it, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. It's been a while since I've been in. I need to go back into it myself. and see what see. I'm sure they had to have been working on it this whole time, right?
And you know what I'm hopeful for? I'm hopeful that that we are going to get an officially supported GTA 5 VR. And the reason why, and I'm not going to get into it. This is a topic for Wednesday on the big show. But I think that Sony's being intentionally quiet about PlayStation VR because I think that when they announce what they're doing with it, they want it to be its own thing. That I don't think that they wanted to take away from their big PS5 reveal. I think that when we start hearing about PSVR, that they're going to have some cool stuff to announce. And with that said, um, Grand Theft Auto Online free for everyone who owns a PlayStation 5. It's coming pre-installed, expanded, and enhanced.
Oh wow.
So I wouldn't be the least bit surprised to see one a new VR headset, even if it isn't the proper PSVR 2, more like a PSVR Pro, only for PlayStation 5. And on top of that, see a lot more um, support from mainstream games like Grand Theft Auto. And if it's going to be something that comes preloaded on a PlayStation 5, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised to see PSVR support as well.
Man, that'd be cool, man. That's one of the best parts of GTA 5 is the online stuff. Obviously you can't play that in the VR, but because they do read it as a hack right now. So, but I wouldn't recommend going out trying to go online with it. They'll get banned. So,
Oh, Will is in the house. What's up, buddy? That guy is Will VR. Been a while since we've seen him. Hey, congrats on all the success that your channel's having, man. You deserve it. You make great content.
for sure.
That trailer was ugly. The GTA one, yeah, it was ugly for us too because we got a copyright warning for using it on our show.
Stupid.
Yeah, I'm getting tired of it, Roots. We try to help these people promote their stuff, and they just want to hold us down like we're trying to steal on them or something.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Slayblaze says, I do know that the new Astrobot is preloaded on PS5. That's true. Astro's Playroom is basically just a new version of the Playroom. PlayStation 4 came preloaded with an app called the Playroom, which was designed around the to show off the new features of the PlayStation 4. So I imagine Astro's Playroom, preloaded on PlayStation 5, is going to show off the new features of the PlayStation 5. So you're going to be able to see it's going to take advantage of all the stuff on the DualSense controller. It's going to show off the Tempest 3D audio engine a little bit. It's going to be designed around that. And if it's anything like the original Playroom, there was an original Playroom, and then there was the Playroom VR. So I imagine that there's going to be Astro's Playroom, and then there's going to be Astro's Playroom VR. If it's anything like the previous iteration.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. So,
Yep.
I'm psyched.
I am too, and it's hard for me not to go full steam ahead into my thoughts after the PS5 reveal. But again, that is a topic for Virtual Strangers 62, and Virtual Strangers 62 is coming the day after tomorrow on Wednesday. We're going to go prime time because some of us do have to work, and we totally understand that. So it's going to be on right around the same time of day that the Monday show's on. Only we're going to be covering all the news from the last week in VR. We're going to be covering and giving our reactions to the Upload Showcase, which is tomorrow. And we're going to be giving our opinions on the PS5 reveal, which was last week. So an epic episode coming up. We might go 3 hours, Roots.
Yeah, the Sunday show on Wednesday is what,
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh.
I wish I didn't have to work like every week and we would just move it to Wednesday, but we have responsibilities.
Yeah, making money is kind of important. A little bit.
Will says it's exciting times for gaming and especially VR. Buddy, that is an understatement. it's an extremely exciting time for all of video games right now. And man, I can only imagine the stuff that's going to come out in the next 2 or 3 months as we move toward the holiday season.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy.
All right, so I think that's going to wrap up the Monday show this week. Let us know what you think in the comments down below, and of course, again, scroll down to the description. There you will find the invitation to our Discord server, and that is that's where you can join the nonstop VR conversation. Roots, the shows are just a formality anymore, right? The real heartbeat of our community is there on the Discord, isn't it?
Yeah, it's where the heartbeat of America is. In Discord, where the looking for group is. It's where all the grip games. We've been playing a lot of contractors lately, getting ready to go into Pavlov. Pretty much anything that's multiplayer, everybody's looking to play these days. So
Drillo says, let's take over 6 blocks of Seattle and call it VR land. You know, we could probably get away with that. I think we could take the ones that are in there right now without even using weapons. I think we could just pimp slap a few of them and they
I
would
don't know, that
run
rapper,
off.
the rapper, the guy that's in charge. He looks like he's he ain't messing around.
I will say this though, Jarillo, if you go pick up Crisis Brigade 2, you can shoot the cops. So
Yeah, you can feel like you're one of the people, one of the protesters.
Drew says, "Oh my God, did you guys talk about Squadrons being in VR yet?" Nope, that's another one for the news show, man. That's not what we do on the Monday show. The Monday show's for what we've been playing. The Virtual Strangers show is the where we cover the news.
We did touch on it a little bit, but yeah, we're gonna go into more detail.
Yeah, a little bit. So yeah, that'll be another one for Virtual Strangers 62 on Wednesday. VR Spry Guy says it's hard to lead a rebellion when you're a snowflake. That's true. Anyway, before we get banned, I think we should wrap it up here. Big thanks to everyone in the chat for showing up. Big thanks for Gora's Shop and Suma Lab for giving us access to Rinlo and Crisis VRigade 2. Really appreciate that. And thanks to our Patreon supporters and all of our subscribers for supporting our community and helping it to grow. You guys are the absolute best.
Yep, absolutely. Oops, I keep clicking my mom up there. Got all sorts of weird stuff going on here, Wes. Okay, there we go.
You know who's into the weird stuff, Roots?
My mom!
Oh, okay. With that, we'll call it a show. Thanks again for watching, guys. We'll see you all on Wednesday. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Take it easy.